Hey everyone, it's Mason the Brock Henderson, and today is Wednesday, so it is time for another review before I have to review the same show. Tonight is Criminal Minds night, and I'm 3 episodes behind on this one, so I'm going to run through those and then hopefully shoot out another one after the episode tonight if I'm able to watch it on time. Anyway, so this is season 11 now, and I'm a little surprised that it's been able to run for so long. Mainly because around season 9, like the shock and awe of the show is kind of what made it so just crazy at first, and what made it such a good show to watch, because it was like, whoa, serial killers, all this stuff. This is weird stuff. And season 10, I think, is probably the most. I don't want to keep saying forgettable because I don't want to become one of those people who uses the same word over and over again. As I say for like the 200th time in these videos. Anyway, back to the show. Season 10 was kind of forgettable for me. They brought in a new agent, and when I heard it was Jennifer Love Hewitt, because the only other woman really that guys could fawn over on the show was JJ, and the girls had Morgan. For those who like the older guys, Hotch, and for those who like the really old guys, and then they had Spencer for those girls who like nerds. So, you know, bringing her in made it seem like it could have been an interesting season, but it really wasn't. Like the cases were just so. I found myself falling asleep sometimes. Like, it just really was a slow season, and even the one where the whole backstory behind the season, it rarely came in. They stopped this one guy who was a serial killer from killing this one girl, and come to find out that she had been sold online, and that was kind of like, it looked like they were setting that up for that season. And I was like, oh, this could be interesting. And then they barely ever brought it back. They had one other episode, maybe two, where Jennifer Love Hewitt's, I think she was like her adopted daughter or something. No, it was her niece, and she was taking care of her because her sister died. Um, and that was kind of, she and the niece and her friend were very much in social media and putting themselves out there. And there was a guy who was pretending to be like this hot high school guy, and he wasn't. It was obviously, this guy who was behind the online dealings. And then finally, the final episode is when they kidnap the niece, and they're going to sell her online, and obviously they go to stop them. And it was very much just a straightforward, oh, so this is where this is going. Okay. One episode, though, did stand out, and if you look on IMDb at the ratings for all the episodes, it's probably the highest rating from last season. It was Mr. Scratch. And man, what a creepy, awesome episode. If you see my dogs, like this one, and there's another one in here sniffing around, I apologize for them. But man, what a creepy episode. There were these people, and they would see this creature, and it was something out of like a horror movie. Like, it was long, tentacle-like arms, and at first I was like, this looks like something supernatural. Like, this does not fit with the show that well. And in the end, it would kill their loved ones. Come to find out, they were hallucinating, and they were killing their loved ones when they thought they were killing the monster. And in the end, you find out it's from this doctor who's kind of crazy, and he wanted people to experience their worst fears. And I think there was something too with the backstory of um, him at a young age, and how he was kind of shamed by this other psychologist. I can't. The story itself is what gripped me. Like the story of them hallucinating a monster and then killing their loved ones, thinking they're killing the monster, um, and the motive behind it kind of got lost on me. But it really did stick out though. And on top of that, it kind of ends on a little. It could come back later, because the guy captures Hotch, and of course, the rest of the team come in to save him, and the guy starts shooting him up. Like you see Morgan get shot twice, you see Spencer get shot in the head, and at that point you're like, okay, this isn't real. He's hallucinating this, but it was still kind of like a just to see it happen, even if it was a hallucination, is kind of like a gut wrenching thing. You're like, holy crap, like that. If that actually happened, I would not be okay. And the guy kind of, when they capture him, the guy kind of looks at, I think he was looking at Morgan when he said it, but he kind of said he'll never be the same, talking about Hotch. And so you kind of wonder, is that going to play into this season at all? It could come back. Don't know. But anyway, on to season 11. Quick recap. Only 3 episodes so far. First one, setting up for a very interesting season. They take on an assassin, which was, I mean, it's an assassin, so it's always fun. You can't make an assassin not fun. I take that back. Probably can. But anyway, you find out that he's going from place to place and killing these targets that people were giving him, and find out in the end that he was being helped by a can't remember, he was some sort of high-ranking cop, and so he had inside information. He had help from the cops to escape, and the cop's wife. And the cop's wife is the one that hired him originally, because everybody was suspecting, oh, it was the cop that hired him. I knew somehow that she was the one that hired him. It seemed like a twist they would try to do. But the interesting part is they're once again setting up for the season, and I really do hope it comes back a bit more than what they did last season. Because the whole internet thing showed up twice and it was over. But this, they capture the assassin, and he's got this deformity from one of his clients had betrayed him, and so he ended up, I think he got shot in the mouth or something, and so he had like this really big scar right here, and they had stitched it up in the hospital. And Morgan came in to talk to him about something, and the guy rips out his stitches, which just leaves like this imprint on your mind, like, oh, I don't want to even think about that. But he rips out his stitches, and he says something about 12 more, something along those lines. Basically, there are 12 more, like, there's 12 of something, whether it's another League of Assassins or if it's like this group of people that, he comes from, I don't know. But it sets up for a great season, and hopefully it's like they throw in episodes where, okay, this episode is about another one of the assassins or something like that. Hopefully it's not just going to be like oh well, we just found all the League of Assassins, let's go get them, guys. That would be dumb. It'd be nice to pick them off one by one. Anyway, second episode was about a sarin gas attack. Very interesting premise. Not something you see all the time, because you see this Asian guy like burying a body out in the middle of nowhere. Next day he's like freaking out. He's cleaning off his shoes, and he's looking like he's about to get on the bus, but the bus leaves, and he gets to work. Turns out there was a sarin gas attack on the bus, and you're kind of wondering, did he do that? Like, what's going on here? And he gets a mysterious email saying, I know what you did. You kind of wonder if maybe the killer was trying to kill him with the sarin gas. So it's more of a mystery, and I like that because one of the weaker points about Criminal Minds is that oftentimes you do know who the killer is early on, which works for some episodes because, um, frankly, you don't have to have a whole lot of mystery when it's a serial killer. The whole point of the show is kind of learning about serial killers, learning about the mindset, and kind of just diving into their mind a bit. And like I said, that I feel like that lasts only so long. So you do have to throw in some twists. In this one, there was a genuine twist. You don't really know what's going on. Like you can't. It was difficult to kind of figure out what is go. It turns out the guy he had killed and buried was having an affair, or his wife was having an affair with that guy, and he had gone to confront him and killed him. That guy was working with his brother on a sarin gas attack, and they were kind of like terrorists, kind of like the fight the power against the government, and so that they were just attacking to cause panic, and so the guy who the brother that didn't die, that was still going to attack, he'd sent these messages to the Asian guy, hoping to kind of like replace him as, where his brother was going to help him. Turns out he wasn't going to help him because he'd fallen in love with this girl, that the Asian dude's wife. So that was a little cliche, and I don't think it was needed, but so the guy recruits the Asian guy and kind of forces him to do it, or he says he's going to the cops with the news that he had killed somebody. And in the end, kind of like the Asian guy kind of freaks out a bit because he feels like this guy sees his every move. He's all of a sudden he says, "Wasn't your daughter wearing a yellow sweater?" A van drives by and you see a girl in a yellow sweater. Turns out it was just a doll, but I mean, very clever from the guy that's the bad guy to kind of just play into his mind a bit and force him to do stuff that he doesn't want to do, but he doesn't really have a choice. His daughter might be in danger. So in the end, obviously, they try to release the sarin gas in the FBI building. Nothing happens. They release it in the garage, and I think Spencer said that it has a very low lethal rate after a certain amount of time. Like it goes away really fast. So they made sure everybody was shut off. Nobody got hurt. They captured the bad guy. Yay for everybody. Typical Criminal Minds ending. They're fighting. So I don't know why. He likes attention. Alright, third episode. It was about weddings. Yay. No, it was about brides that had been killed. And this one kind of went back to the same old cliche of Criminal Minds. You find out who the criminal is early on. She's a woman that's hallucinating. She's having these hallucinations about her sister's boyfriend, who turns out they were like boyfriend girlfriend back in middle school, and because of that she feels like he still loves her, and so she has hallucinations of him telling her that he loves her and nobody else, and they can't hide this. They can't hide this love from the world anymore, and so anybody who shows him any affection at all, which he's kind of a flirtatious guy, so woman puts her hand on his shoulder, she's gonna kill her, and so like I said, fairly straightforward, typical hallucinating bad guy, and in the end, that eventually she's going to go after the sister because he proposes to her, and her hallucination shows up and says, you had to get rid of. And she's like, but no, she's my sister. And a very strange ending. They were in this greenhouse where they owned a flower shop. So they're in this greenhouse where they grow the flowers. She had set up like this little wedding looking thing and put on a bridal gown, and the FBI comes in. She's threatening to hurt the sister. Hodge kind of talks her down, says, "You're not going to hurt your sister." And the boyfriend, fiance guy showed up before they had gotten there, and they kind of, hinted that he needs to confess his love for her, and he does. He says, "Of course I love you," and she's like, just drops the knife, and she like goes over, and they start playing like this cheery song. She gives him a hug, and they like lead her out, and she's like smiling, and nobody's really like looking down, like they're not smiling, but Hotch is kind of looking like he's a little half smirk walking her out. And then after she's out, finally like the sister breaks down, and her fiance comes and like hugs her and calms her down. I'm like, such a strange choice of song, especially considering what is going on right now. Um, but other than that, the one thing though that this season has brought, just over the 3 episodes, nothing in particular that I can really think of. Um, but one thing that I was missing last season, there was not enough team interaction. And if you watched the show before, maybe you know what I mean. Depending on what episodes you've seen, if you've seen them all, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a lot of fun when they crack jokes, when they make fun of stuff. Um, because honestly, if you think about the premise of the show and everything that's going on, it's a very dark show. People are constantly dying. Serial killers on the loose all the time. They're chasing them down. They're having to get into the mind of a serial killer. That's a very dark premise. And if you don't lighten it up with a bit of humor, it really gets so dark that it's just hard to watch. And that's what season 10 really didn't do well. There wasn't enough interaction with the team. There weren't jokes being made. And that's one thing that season 11 has done so far, is there have been some moments, mainly, I mean, the one that I love the most is when Spencer and Morgan kind of have a little verbal, go at each other, because that's fun. That makes it a bit more fun. I can handle the dark stuff because you've thrown in a bit of fun, and so that has been better, and I didn't want to not say anything about that, because that is important, especially for this show, for a show that's so dark. Um, Other than that, oh, new character, Jennifer Love Hewitt was gonna have a baby, and she didn't want to try to do acting and being a mom at the same time, so they, she might be back later, but for now she's not on the show. So they brought in Aisha Tyler, which it's hard for me to draw away from Whose Line Is It Anyway, especially since she kind of gets on my nerves. Her really loud, annoying laugh really grated on me. I miss Drew Carey on that show. But then again, Drew's not fat, so they can't make fat jokes about him. So that, I guess it makes sense. But yeah, she's done okay so far. She was one of many candidates in the first episode. They were looking for a replacement for Jennifer Love Hewitt's character, and it was a little weird how, they were trying to talk to the cop guy that had hired the assassin, and he had the phone on speaker talking to his wife, because Hotch had talked to him the first time, and so he had put it on speaker, and they needed somebody to make it sound like he was talking to the wife, and she had just heard the wife's voice, and so she talked to him, and she sounded a bit like the wife, and she'd stayed very calm. She had done everything. Then she said everything that needed her to say. Kind of told him to put his head down in a way that didn't sound like duck. So it. After that, Garcia's like, please tell me that she's the one on the team. I'm like, did she do that much? And I understand they needed a reason for her to be the one that is on the team, but it just felt kind of forced. Like, oh, you just happen to be standing right here. Get over here now. Do this. And then after that, it's like, you're awesome. Come be on our team. So, yeah, it did feel a little forced, but now I'm nitpicking. So other than that, just wanted to give a quick shout out to, as you can see, I'm wearing my Star Wars PJs because the new trailer looks amazing. If you have not seen it yet, you have no life and you have no internet. And also, happy Back to the Future Day. Still waiting for those hoverboards, Bill Gates. I want them now. If you watch this, get on it. Sorry. Right here. Anyways, tonight will be another episode of Criminal Minds. Because I'm kind of caught up as far as reviews of shows and stuff, I will probably do my Bones and the Blacklist reviews for the first few episodes tomorrow morning, and then give you the reviews of those two episodes, the new episodes, tomorrow night after they're over. Same for The Walking Dead on Sunday. Of course, since I have Friday and Saturday, who knows. But anyway, I will see you guys at the next review. Peace out.